Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Jean. I am a business coach here in Toronto, and I help women entrepreneurs build 6- and 7-figure businesses and make more money with less stress. And I'm here with the amazing Laura Armstrong, who I've known for some time now. She is a leadership accelerator and a communications expert. Welcome, Laura. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, how's it going? Great to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Good. Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely. So can you tell us a bit more about what you do as a leadership accelerator and communications expert? How does that work?
Yeah, for sure. So with what went on in COVID, I am a little bit of background on me. I am a 3-time world champion martial artist. And I'm also a holistic practitioner. So I would teach a lot of classes. I would teach seminars all over the world. I was doing holistic courses and I would have clients for sessions. And then when COVID hit, all of that stopped, right? So I realized that I needed to shift my business so that I could, continue to bring in income, but I really needed to still do something that helped people because I have 3 reasons for living. And that is that it has to be fun for me. I have to enjoy doing it. It has to help people. It has to make me more money than I can spend. Right? And I think all 3 of those things are really important, not one more than the other, but they all have to contribute to it. So as a leadership accelerator, I offer courses and classes to help people both step into their leadership, and kind of develop that. And also I work with successful leaders to bring them to the next level of their leadership. And then the communication part comes in there with a coding methodology I use called BANK, which is a personality coding methodology, kind of like DISC or MBTI. But it's unique because it's reverse engineered and it teaches you how to speak to people and listen to them in their code. Yeah.
Amazing. That was like such a great description.
Yeah.
And I love the, I think you're so cool because I love the whole background of, I know you and the whole world champion, you were traveling, all of your business was related to hands-on, like travel, hands-on.
Right.
Pretty much everything you were doing was completely non-COVID friendly. So you really managed to pivot fast, but I know that that's also in your nature because you just kind of do things, which I think is amazing. You get interested in something and just immerse yourself into it. And so you've done so many different modalities over the years, from access bars and all these different things that you do to heal and help people. So
yeah. Yeah, and it's been kind of cool because I'm still using those principles when I'm, now that my business is virtual, I'm still using all the principles of that to create more for people and help them step into their power, right? Because, we all have these blocks that we still have, about being successful or money or fear or, being good enough or whatever it is, right? And so what I offer still contributes to that, but in a different structure. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Perfect. So what do you think are your top tips for your keys to success, or what you see other people doing that or help them do? Like what you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I hear you totally. Yeah.
Successful.
Yeah, right. It's funny because you and I have talked a lot before and kind of been engaged in a lot of things together. Like I always was kind of seen as the woo-woo person, which I was totally willing to have. And it took me, I would say the first thing is like, you can't worry about people's judgment, especially your own self-judgment. That would be the number one thing I would say to people. Be willing to accept judgment because really it's just somebody's opinion. It's not about you. And if you can get out of that mindset about worrying about what people think, you will skyrocket. You will take off, your business will take off. And the more it takes off, the more criticism you're gonna see. So be willing to have that and be willing to not attach onto that, right? So what else is possible? That's what you got to keep saying. So that would be my number one thing for people. And the second thing would be don't quit. Okay, don't quit. No matter how down in the dumps, depressed you are, never quit. And I remember, I was doing a webinar a few weeks ago, and no, I was teaching one of my courses. That's right. And we were talking, and I said, we were talking about moments in our life that defined us. And I remember that moment when I won my first world championship. And I remember standing there, and I remember the awards presenter putting the medal around my neck and handing me the award. And I'm never gonna forget that feeling of having my hand raised as the winner, the best in the world. Like, and so I want everybody to have that feeling and know what that feels like, whether it's, you know, in your business or anything else you're doing, is to be at the pinnacle of what your success is. But I think a lot of the time, Laura, what happens is we have an idea of what that might be, but we're not really sure about what it is exactly. So, you know, I work with people to define that and where they are now and the things that could be getting in their way, right? So yeah, I would say it's really important for you to never quit and see. And the third thing I would say is just be kind to yourself, you know. Sometimes I think we're harder, especially now people are in stress. And when I'm talking to people in their, you know, the bank codes, like I talked about previously, it's not their normal behavior right now because everybody is in panic mode. They're stressed. They're trying to get by, you know, they're redoing their business. Now things are starting to relax a bit, but we all know it's never going to be 100% the way it was, right? So we have changed to some degree. And I think the last thing I want to say about that is, you know, keep in mind that change is not a bad thing. We're taught it is as very young people through our families, because change means struggle. Change means, you know, pain. It means no money. It means, you know, there's going to be something new, right? Change is actually something you should embrace if possible. Bring it in, see what shows up. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, but if you can change your mindset about what change is and embrace it as a good thing, man, your life is going to get so much easier. It's not even funny. So yeah, those are probably the top three things that I would say.
Those are amazing pieces of advice. I love every single one of them. The being able to accept judgment, it's so true. And almost to take it on as like a badge of honor. Like if somebody criticizes you, it's like, hey, at least they're paying attention, right?
Yeah, you're on the right path. You're good to go. Yeah.
You're like, you're rocking the boat, right?
Yeah, that's right. You're rocking the boat.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think for every negative opinion, well, I mean, I could just go on about this one particular topic forever, but you know, like so much of it is not even what their actual opinions of you are. It's what you create about what might be their opinions. They might not like it, right? Or they might think I'm weird. But in reality, who knows and who cares, right? It's like so not about you.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I have a good story about that. I was teaching the seminar in Washington State. This is maybe 10, 15 years ago. And so as a gift to the instructors, they gave them these little booklets that all the students signed and thanking them. That's all the booklet was supposed to be. But it was funny because one lady who I guess I threatened her wrote a comment in my book that was not so nice. And, oh yeah, I took your class. It's kind of like what I do, but I was expecting more. And the comment wasn't supposed to be like that. But, you know, there were like 60 other comments that were more positive, but here I focused on that one thing and I let it bring me down. And I'm like, wait a minute here. This woman's probably threatened by me, and so I should take that as a compliment. So it's like those kind of things that we focus on, and we're just human, right? So I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
So tell me, I'm going to go like a little in a different direction. Tell me what you mentioned, you know, people might not, you had that feeling of like, I'm the world champion. But people might not even know kind of what's there for them, but I'm imagining it kind of lives as an itch, like just a longing, or, I mean, you can tell me to help when somebody comes to you and I don't think they actually have that much of a conscious thought of, I want to accelerate my leadership, or do they?
Right. Yeah. So, you mean, that's a conversation, and it's always a really interesting one because everyone is so unique and individual. So when I talk about leadership, for one person, they were at the head of a team of like hundreds of people. And when I talked to another person, they didn't have people under them. Leadership for them meant they were the go-to person for information. So like very different, right?
Very different. Yeah.
And so when I said to the one person with the team, I'm like, okay, so if you were the world champion of your business and you were at the top of your game, what would that look like? And they're like, really good, right? So then we started to set parameters around to get them thinking about what that would mean. Their business, their financial, their family, their living, you know, their organization. Like, and we started to structure those things in there so that they could say, well, yeah, at that point, I'm going to have somebody working for me to handle all my admin, or, you know, I'm booking dates here, I'm selling this. And then they started to get an idea around that, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas before it'd be, yeah, like I'm, you know, I want to talk in front front of millions, but like that would be great someday. And so that's the kind, we want to get out of that into actually seeing the path to where you actually have your, and that can change all the time, but you do want to start like giving them a way to kind of, you know, judge where that would start.
Right.
Yeah.
And then start taking those steps towards it. For
Right.
me,
Yeah.
I love what you said about, you know, yeah, I'd love to be speaking in front of millions one day or whatever. Like for me, there was a shift when I started to really embrace leadership and what it could mean. And when I realized that it's not like I'm going to be sitting on my couch and somebody's going to invite me to speak in front of millions of people. It's like carving the path myself. It's showing up
Right.
metaphorically on a street corner with like a little wooden box or something and standing on that box and speaking to the people, or getting a video camera and putting the stuff out. Like you have to
Yeah.
do the actions. And it's kind of a reversal of energy. It's not demanded of you or asked of you, or you're invited and
It's a
people support
choice.
you to do it. Yeah, exactly. It's a choice.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
some people, I think it's like a moment of like, oh, I don't want to, but I gotta take this action. I gotta step up and do it.
Yeah. And I, you know, exactly. Then, and so then what happens is the fear kicks in. What
Exactly.
if, right? And I'm like, no, don't give that power, right? Because
Yeah.
then if you want to give it power, that's okay. That's your choice. And I honor that. But if you don't, you know, and I remember someone saying to me, well, it's the fear that's stopping me. I'm like, okay, so is it really fear or is it really excitement that looks like fear?
Right.
Because if it was really fear, you wouldn't be doing anything. You would be like, yeah, no, I can't do that. But you're not. You're moving forward. So you're kind of excited to see what's going on, but it has the same feeling as fear. So just really be clear about that. So it's these kind of things that we need to look at that can, take us out of that, you know, I can't do that mindset into, yeah, actually, I'm excited to see what's going to show up. Right. And yeah, totally.
Amazing. And I
Yeah.
think leadership, so basically you help them uncover what leadership is going to look like, turn it into something practical that they can work towards and actually take on. And then
Yeah.
the communication part comes in, because you got to get communicating with people so that you're leading them and you're showing up as a leader and so on, right?
Right. And communication is kind of like, they kind of work hand in hand, because if you don't speak to people in a language they understand, you're going to go nowhere. So if I'm in front of a bunch of people, there are all four of the codes there that I study, but I focus on the people who are actions, who will take action, and the nurturers, and they pull the rest of the people along, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah, so like the actions want to go for it. They want the opportunity. They'll jump off the cliff to see if there's water. They're the mover, the shaker, the moneymaker. They want a great deal. They'll try anything new. The nurturers will also do that, but it has to feel good for them.
Yeah.
So it has to feel good for them. It has to have a sense of community. They almost have to help people more than make money. And I work with people on that so much who are nurturers. And what they're starting to understand is they really need to make a lot of money so they can help a lot more people. Like it all works together, right? And I think that a lot of the time that piece is left out of training. Yeah.
And the bank codes, they also help for self-understanding. When you know yourself, then you know, oh, this is what motivates me. This is how I can get to where I want to get to, right?
Absolutely. And you know, your code can change. I've noticed during COVID, so I am an action nurturer knowledge blueprint. Blueprint is the person who's organized. It's my husband.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the opposite of me, right? So much of this until I knew what he was about, and then I understood him. But I'm telling you, in COVID, I make lists now. I have processes around my business because I've had to change so much. I'm sure my blueprint has come up
Yeah.
during this whole thing. But when you're learning this bank methodology, you really have to get outside of yourself, because it's not about you, and think in other people's codes and relate to them in that. And this is such a good exercise for leadership as well as just like the regular Joe, right? Like, because your team is comprised of you're all four codes, right? And the dominant ones are what you need to start recognizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm the exact same as you. Actually,
You are.
if I remember, yeah, maybe that's why we get along so well.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
Action,
no
nurture,
doubt,
knowledge, blueprint. Yeah.
no doubt blueprint is last for me. And no doubt action is first.
Yeah. I totally hear you on that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just been really interesting, you know, and you know, you know, it was funny because I was writing something out about leadership the other day, and I'm like, look, in today's environment, if we don't socially connect people and raise consciousness, you know, which does sound woo-woo, but it's actually the truth. And I think now more than ever, people are tapping into that who weren't before and thought it was a bit of hooey, right? So like, let's all tap into that and create more for people now, because we all have to survive and thrive, right? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much. We'll include links
Oh,
so
great.
people can get a hold of you. So, you know, and is there anything you'd like to leave people with? One last thought or anything?
Yeah. Just know that you're more than enough, and no one else can tell you less than that. And just be the best you can be every day. And where you are is absolutely okay.
Oh, I love it. That's just perfect. So beautiful.
Thanks for
Always a
having me.
pleasure to see you, Laura. It's just so great to see your smiling face. I can't wait to come in and get a treatment from you and see your beautiful dogs. And
Awesome.
have an awesome rest of your weekend.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks for